going back, getting a chance to watch the film, was pleased with the finishing effort of our guys. I thought, as I mentioned in the post game, came out and started the game probably as bad as we could have. Did not get much rhythm offensively. Defensively gave up explosive plays. Really struggled to get off the field on third downs. A lot of things that we had went through and things that really we expected to see in a lot of situations, and whether it was a communication breakdown, things that that allowed for explosive plays and for drives to continue. We had to get eliminated offensively. For a variety of different reasons, we're not able to convert. We did have our opportunities where we moved the ball, but just the continued. Struggle of third downs and fourth down situations are things that are really hurting us. And we got down early. Tried to look for sparks, and we were limited in the number of possessions. I think we had 4 possessions there in the first half, and the last 2 were both 2-minute drives. Now, I thought it was a great spark. The second to last drive of the first half, be able to march the ball down, kind of got in a rhythm, hit some pass plays down the field. That kind of gave us a spark overall. Got the ball back, was able to have a long run by Jay Sean, and that really gave a nice push to our team. I thought defensively in the second half, played lights out. I mean, it was guys were flying all around. There wasn't some magic scheme adjustment that we had. There was a couple things we tweaked for third downs just that we'd seen in the game plan, but guys really did a much better job in communication. I thought our fits were good. Still a couple things even in the second half that we needed to clean up, but you did a great job of stopping the run. Contained the passing game, and that gave us an opportunity to work back and have a chance to put ourselves in a position to win the game. Now. Offensively, we had some productive drives, for whatever yardage is for. I mean, that's we were able to move the ball, but we got to do a better job of finishing drives, and we got to score points. We've gotten those critical moments and have not been able to convert. You go back and you watch the film, and there's not one position that you can say, well, I mean, this or that. I mean, it was there were times where there was a 3-man pass rush, and we got pressure. There were times that we had guys that were open. There were times that we dropped passes. I mean, things that you just can't have in those critical situations to achieve success. And we came back in. It was the talk to the team yesterday is, and I'll say this, in the locker room, yesterday coming back. I mean, everybody's disappointed, and it hurts and it is painful to sit there and be where we are right now. But we come in as a coaching staff, we come in as players, and we see the film, we see the results of our actions and what we do, and they're all things that need to be fixed and can be fixed. And the thing that I was proud of is you're down 31-7, and guys just continue to believe. They continue to fight. They help put us in a position to go and have a chance to win the game, and that's what we have to continue to be able to do throughout this process of, we have to eliminate the mistakes. We have to be better fundamentally. We've got to continue to grow and develop with the identity and the things that we do well. But we also have to be able to play with that confidence of what we can do rather than focusing on things that maybe we are still young in our developmental process with. And that's our job as coaches, and it's what we have to do here, this week moving forward.
First question will be Ira on your right.
You guys eliminated some of the penalties and turnovers on offense, but then still had a bunch of negative plays that seemed like to stall drives. What can you do to eliminate some of those?
It was a combination. There was, when you go back and you look at it, there was a few poor decisions on things that we did, whether it's and it's all position, from receivers to running backs to O-line, playing with our eyes in the right spot, at times trying to help where, help is not necessarily needed. Reads, progressions, decisions that we make. Those are all things that kind of go into, being able to sustain a rhythm. And, some of the negative plays that we had were just, probably errors in judgment at times on a trying to do too much. And that's where, at the end of the day, if we will just continue to believe in what we are asked to do by the look, then, I think that's going to help put us in an opportunity to be able to sustain the drives, to be able to continue to move the ball down the field, to allow some of the big runs and explosive plays that we saw. But that's something that as like I said, it's not just one position. And that's where it's frustrating as a coach, because you just, as you see a group, that's executing and playing well, and then, it takes all 11. And as an offense, that's where we got to have that continuity and be able to trust to just do my job, and to go out there and put ourselves in the best position and take what the defense gives us. And if we'll do that, got a lot of confidence in what this group can do.
We'll go to in the back for Aslan.
Coach, is it the magnitude or the timing of the mistakes that's leaving you kind of most, I guess, confused right now?
Well, it's really the timing of some of them that are showing up in just critical situations. You never want to be in second and long, and so and that's happened. Whether we're on a drive and we get a first down, and with all the right intentions, we do something that we have a negative play that puts us a little bit behind the chains. We're not far enough right now as an offense to be able to overcome some of those things. The third downs. I went back. You watch all of them, and there's some. We had some opportunities, and we had some things that we've got to do a better job of just trusting trusting the technique of what we do throughout the course of the game. Just the consistency of that, where in certain times in the game this past week, there were just simple mistakes that showed up that cost us in situations, whether it was eyes, whether it was a fundamental technique with our feet, catching the ball to the tuck. Just whatever that showed up, and those things. They kill you in trying to extend drives just in those situations. And so we just got to become more consistent, and as a coaching staff continue to grow and develop the plans of what we're doing to help create the space, help put our guys in the best position of what they can do to be successful, and and just continue to develop them along that journey.
We'll go to the front row for Kurt.
You talked about the fourth down struggles as well. Is that something, do you take into account maybe changing your math there, be it your record, be it the opponent you're facing, or are the analytics there the analytics?
A lot of that is tied into it. I'll say that our lack of production on fourth down, it definitely is something that I look at and I evaluate, and the situation of the game, where we are, if we're up or down, that's one of the things I do at the beginning of each week is how is this matchup, in those critical situations. And there's been some calls that I feel really good about, what I believe the outcome should be, and even post snap of what it looks like is going to occur. But at the end of the day, we've got to go out there and we got to trust our preparation. We got to trust the belief in what we're trying to do and the position we're trying to put our players in. But absolutely, there's when you look in your 1 and 9 on fourth downs, we got to be right. If it means flipping the field and maybe reevaluating some of those things in situations. We're going to have to do that. We're always going to play aggressive to put our guys in the best position to be successful, but we've got to be productive when we're doing that.
Sticking with the theme of fourth down, on the fourth down direct snap to the running back, are the tight ends supposed to be looking at the sideline as it snapped, or is that them making a mistake with their eyes?
Well, it was something that throughout the game and just in our study of something that we thought we could take a advantage of, and there was not just one position, but there was some things that we could have done better that and ultimately I'd like to have that call back, and it was mine. So I mean, it was at the end of the day, that's where, you sit there and, it was not successful, and there's things that we could have done better.
Go back to Corey on your right.
Mike, last year you guys were pretty good in short yardage, I thought, on third down. How much of that was having a mobile quarterback like Jordan on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3? You did a wildcat a lot. And how much could this offense be impacted if you had maybe more of a mobile quarterback just on those short yardage plays? And is that something you've given thought to?
I mean, I thought we were pretty good on short yardage the other day. I mean, in the third down and short this last game, we're going to evaluate the guys that we have and try to put them in the best position to be successful. I think that you always look at, man, what resources and talents do you have on the offensive side of the ball, and then what calls are you putting them in a position against the looks that you're going to see, trying to create the advantage, create the angles, but create the threat, whether it's a running quarterback threat, whether it's utilize the wildcat, the surfaces that you're going to present, and then what have they shown to do, and how can you attack that the best way? So. It's a combination of all, and we look at all those things. So yes, I mean, I thought one of the positives coming out of the game is that we had really struggled in short yardage on third down, and we were productive on third down in short yardage this last game, and we were in too many third and longs.
I'll stay over there for Ira.
It seemed like in the second half defensively, I don't know how you can measure it, but it just seemed like there was more of a ferocity from some players on defense, like beating blocks, being more physical. I think we had seen that in the Notre Dame game, but maybe it's been missing a little bit. I don't know. Is that something you can identify, or do you think it was something else that kind of changes?
I mean, I thought guys were playing with great energy, and it showed up all over the field. You saw where corners are coming up, forcing runs on the perimeter. I think going back and watching film, in each game, I've seen that level of play in our defense. And, has it been ultimately consistent at every position? No. Right? Has it been, I think our forcing unit has played, they played very physical. I mean, they have done a good job for the most part on the season and in the run game, especially just, with what we're trying to do, trying to create pressure on the quarterback as well. But, that's something that I thought that, our guys in general, I mean, there was a great deal of energy, a great deal of excitement. I think early in the game, especially after giving up the early touchdown, and then we get a third down stop, have the penalty. There's some things that that were not necessarily frustration sets in, but there's you've got to be able to respond in that moment and basically take each play as its own play. But I do believe I don't sit back and say, well, these guys are not playing hard. They haven't played hard for a couple of games. I mean, I think our guys play hard. And, I've had coaches that we played that have called me and echoed that same sentiment of the mentality of which our guys are playing with, the things that they're seeing that, we've just got to be more consistent in that. But there's no question. I mean, we played at a high level in the second half within our execution, and guys being where they needed to be. And when you see that, it shows up a certain way when you have talented young men that go out there and they're able to play, with that mentality. So I was really pleased to see it.
Go back to that.
Coach, Deshaun with 159 yards on 11 touches, obviously a big bright spot and a playmaker in Saturday's game. Can you just speak to his performance and maybe getting him the ball as he's a clear playmaker in the future?
Yeah, I think Deshaun's done a great job. Had some wonderful runs in the game this last week. He's just continuing to show up, and I think we've got a really good backfield. Trayshawn Ward has also been very productive in what he does, and those guys, we've had them on the field at the same time some, and being able to balance that, that's where for us, just the consistency of being able to sustain drives and making sure that, that as we do that, Jay Sean also did a great job catching the ball out of the backfield. So, trying to be able to provide him opportunities, not just as a running back, but, also as a receiver out of the backfield. And he's also willing to do some of the dirty work, in the blocking game. But I think, those two guys have really established themselves. It was good seeing, DJ Williams was able to get out there and have a couple of real productive, tough nose, runs at what he did. So, but I really like the job that Jay Sean's doing, and he's going to continue to grow and develop, here throughout the course of the season.
Come over here to your left for Bob.
Hey, Coach, on the 2 punt returns with Keyshawn, the first one, was he not positioned deep enough to field it? And then on the second one, do you want him standing on the 10 and maybe get a touchback, or do you want him to field it so that you're not pinned deep there?
No, I mean, the first one he did, he was, they had a couple of shorter kicks and directionally kicked. So we had him up. We had him a little bit, had him up, and they ended up kicking a 50-yard punt. And so, Keyshawn, went to retrace, but made the decision that he didn't feel like he could field it cleanly and let the ball bounce. And that was a big play in field position, and that's something that, for us, we go through, and you have a distance that you want to set your punt returner, and then you kind of adjust it throughout the course of the game. And obviously we had him up too much there at that on the one that went over his head. The second one, we do not say the 10-yard line. And, in the last few years where we backed it up, a few yards from that, and we do have a stop point, and that's where the decision making process of a punt returner. They have to take in the angle of the kick. Is this something that we feel is going to is the trajectory of it going to be one that we believe is going to take it into the end zone? If it's going to land around between the 6 and the 10, or is this a ball that has a chance to stop and get pinned within that? And so that's really changed here in the last few years as punters have become more skilled in being able to kill the ball inside the 5-yard line. We've backed that up, and it's something that we're going to continue to do, and just try to provide as many opportunities, which we do each week, on making those type of decisions. But in the moment, he felt that ball was one that he was going to field, and he fielded with a fair catch. And that's, those are all things that we talk about and continue to give those examples. So in the moment, you can make that second decision.
Next week, Kurt on the front row.
You had a few guys unavailable Saturday, Lawrence and Fabian. I guess, where are they kind of at coming into the week? And then I guess, how close was Maurice, and how optimistic are you this might be the week he's able to be back?
Yeah, we'll continue to evaluate where those guys are at. I'll tell you, our guys are pushing really hard to get back. And Rob Scott, I know I mentioned it, I think, in the post game. The job he did to be available was really impressive, and we had to tweak some things. We put him on the right side. There's all things that we're trying to do to help our guys and allow them to go out and have the opportunity to play. I know Maurice is getting closer. Fabian, we'll see. Lawrence had a couple of guys that went down throughout the course of the game, but we'll see how this week progresses. So.
Go back left, Don.
Hey, Coach. So obviously, Mackenzie Germain, pretty vocal about their just disappointment to the slow starts you guys have been having this season. In terms of guys like them who are your leaders on this team, are you hearing in the days following the response you want to hear from them vocally, telling the team, kind of holding them accountable as well?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that, as leaders, when you go out there and you're able to put it on display, then guys listen when you talk, and guys like that you mentioned. They're coming to work each day, working extremely hard. We're all pushing in the same direction, trying to improve the way we're starting games, and it's something that we evaluate. And there's a method to everything that we do, and it's all set up from the beginning of the season, and how to prepare our guys to go out and play well. There's been, you look, offensively, I've been through every first drive, every first couple of drives, and I went through it and did it again here after the game, and just to continue to see what things can we do from a schematic part, the process to a preparation process with the timing of how we sequence things, there in pregame. I mean, I'm always evaluating. I talk to our players about it, and at the end of the day, I mean, that's we've got a team council that I talked to. We visited last night and some thoughts and ideas of of what potential things we could explore, but for the loudest voices, we get 12 guaranteed opportunities. We got to make sure that when we run out of the tunnel, regardless of any circumstance that we can't control, we've got to be prepared to go out there and play to the best of our ability, to communicate to the best of our ability, to execute to the best of our ability, players, coaches, everybody involved. And I do believe that we're going to continue to see growth and a positive response. Because we have a group of guys on this football team, a really good group that is determined to get this right.
Go over to Corey.
Mike, there was somebody that said you are what your record says you are. Number one, you're not getting blown off the field. You're in these games late, but you're also 0-4. So I guess in that, what is the message to recruits families, to recruits coaches about where this program is right now?
I mean, we're continuing every day to go out there and improve, to put our guys in the best position to be successful. We're going through the process, and it's not what anybody hoped for. It's not where anybody wanted to be, but there are a lot of areas in our program that we're seeing growth, and it's not showing up for 3.5 hours of consistent play, and we've not done the things necessary to win those games, and that is disappointing. In 3 of them, we've had the opportunity. Really, in all of, in 3 of them, we've had opportunity there at the very end to swing it one way or the other, and we just haven't been able to quite finish that. And so we've got to continue to grow. We've got to continue to develop. I've got a tremendous amount of optimism about what's coming and the work because all I can base it on is what I see from our guys in the areas of things that we're asking them to correct. We're asking them to push. Is the consistency, where we need it to be? No. It has to grow to that. You see that with a lot of moving pieces of what we're seeing within the roster. We're seeing that with some of the young guys that are having to play and having to emerge. But I'm also getting to see it with the response of guys that are playing their best ball and they're getting better week in and week out. And so this team it shows up and it goes to work. We have to make sure that the application of that is consistent for the 3.5 hours that we get, because you're right. We are who we are when it comes to our record, but on the flip side of it, what we do with that, that's what we can control. And we've earned where we are up until this point, but who we are moving forward, we're in control of that by what we're willing to invest and what we're willing to do. And I've got a great deal of confidence in these guys and what that response will be.
Stay over there for Ira.
Just following up on the question about leadership, and I know you're more about actions than talk, but did you see anything either late in the first half or at halftime from guys when things could have gone south, guys kind of pushing things in the right direction?
Yeah, like I said, these guys believe. The values, the work, the standard of how we operate, it's hard to argue against. And, these guys, they want to be successful. And the mistakes that are made that have cost us in situations, they're not hard to spot either. And so it's about cleaning that up. It's about being able to go out there and just truly letting every play be its own play. That was my message to them. Forget the dang scoreboard right now. Just go out and focus on one play. It's the same message that we had in the fourth quarter. Same message we had in pregame. But the application of that, when we can go out there and just play each play as its own. I like the results that I know that we're capable of seeing, and that we have seen at times throughout this season. We have leaders on this team that, and they are passionate about what we are doing, and they're passionate about the growth of what that's in front of us, and then also the necessity of the guys that are speaking victorious over what we're doing. I mean, it's not hard to find a negative thought around this program from the outside and at times from the inside. I mean, I've been a part of teams that have won a lot of games, and in a moment of adversity, there's the people usually have an opinion, right? But when the core of who you are is about the right things, and it's about the growth, it's about the development, it's about the relationships, and all those things continue to push forward, then the response is going to be usually where you want it to be. And we're going through that process of it, and we haven't been able to finish that result there on game day. But I do believe it's coming.
I've got time for a couple more. We'll go to Corey.
Sorry, Mike, I don't, not to belabor the point, but back to the recruits. What message are you selling them? And can you sell them that this program is getting better even when the results on the field?
Oh, they watch, not to cut you off, but they watch the games too. They see the opportunities. They see the opportunity for themselves. They see the opportunity of and they have a belief in who they are. And that's what I want to be around. I want to be around guys that, it's easy to look at a reason why to go in maybe an easier route of something that is established. I mean, there's been a lot of change around this program over the last few years, and that affects all. That affects everything. It affects recruiting. It affects, the guys that have to come to work every single day. When there's change in the standard of operations, when there's change in how you do things, when there's change in what you're looking for, the priorities of the individuals. Well, when those guys, when you lay out the vision of what you want, you live it out every day. And the best recruiters we have on here are the players, because they're the ones that get to talk about what it is day in and day out. How our coaches care about the players, how our coaches invest, the focus on teaching fundamentals, the focus on putting playmakers in an opportunity to make plays. But we've got to go out there and we've got to do a better job in every one of those areas. But I'm looking for guys that want to be a part of that process too. The guys that want to be successful, guys that want to be challenged, guys that are willing to step up and step out and go do something that, they're going to have to defend. Well, why there? Because it's the best dang fit for them. It's an opportunity where they're going to go get pushed, they're going to get developed, they're going to have an opportunity to play at one of the greatest places in the country, right? With a wonderful fan base that cares. Right? I mean, look, I'm pissed off that we're 0-4. Right? And we can bring up how many years it's been. I don't really I can't control that. I can control this team at this moment and right now with the opportunity. And so we're going to work our butts off to go get better. And we're going to do it the right way. And we're going to have a standard of how we operate. It's going to be the same standard that we're going to ask them to do in the classroom, the same standard of everything that we do. I'm going to hold myself to it because I got to be the example. And you know what? Does that mean I'm not going to make a mistake? I'll probably make a mistake. Might make one today, might make one tomorrow. But I will respond to that. And so that's the team I want because I've seen it work. I've been a part of teams that, they've been on a losing streak. They didn't get caught up with all the crap that was on the outside and everybody telling you what you can't do and, this is the issue and that's it. Yeah, it's easy to point at that. But who wants to be a part of the solution? So those are the guys we're going after. And, there's some kids that, man, this program over here, they're well established. They've got, they've got this, they've got that. And you know what? Probably had a lot of continuity. It's probably been, some things that have been in place there for a time. So even when the adversity strikes, there's a quick response to it. We're going through that process. We're setting the foundation. We're doing it the right way. And so I'm excited about the guys that we're recruiting because I'm excited about the guys that say yes. And then when adversity strikes and, oh, man, you've lost a couple games. Is that still what you want to do? Ones that stand up, step out, and those are the guys that you can guarantee are going to be a part of the change in a positive way. And we have those guys here. I have those guys in that locker room right now because it's really easy when it's 31-7, right? Which, you feel it. If I was a fan, I'd be pissed off, 31-7. Right? Some of them stayed, some of them didn't. But the ones that did got to see a team that came back and responded, right, and played their butts off till the end. Now, were we successful? No, it was a failure. We did not win that game, and that's what we came out. I felt very confident in it. I felt that we were going to put ourselves in a great position. But you know what? We came up short. But they did not stop. They continued to believe. And it's for the guys that we recruit, for the coaches that are on the staff, for the players that are on this team, that's what I want. Because if you have that, then you might get your butt knocked down, but you're going to get up and you're going to respond the right way. Yes, we are 0-4, but we have today. And then, Lord willing, wake up tomorrow, we'll have tomorrow. And what we do with that, man, I've got a lot of confidence in.